Good morning, Grinders. Welcome to the DFS pregame show here on RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. Blender Ed, Blender HD. If you want to follow me on Twitter. And it's Wednesday, August 23rd, and we're continuing our NFL DFS Primer series that will go through the end of next week. Remember, Friday, we're going to still be talking about MMA. We have a 5 a.m. slate, right? They're in Singapore. They're in Asia somewhere. So we'll be talking about the MMA slate on Friday. James will be back on Monday for Mondays with McCool. We'll talk to him about his live final experience for the DraftKings MLB final in San Diego, and then we'll continue our NFL Primer series for tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and beyond. So if you got questions about NFL DFS, you got a question about our tools here at RotoGrinders, send them in. Questions@theoryofdfs.com. That's questions@theoryofdfs.com. Or obviously, if you're here live, post them in the YouTube chat. We got crunch time coming up later, right after this show. This will be a shorter show. Noon, crunch time for the MLB slate. There's a decent day slate, afternoon slate, whatever. So they'll be coming up with that. But we're getting ready for NFL. It's only 2.5 weeks away. I believe 2.5 weeks, I think. 3 weeks. Something like that. It's coming up soon. Transitioning your play from MLB and NBA, PGA into NFL. Because, obviously NFL, the biggest DFS sport. I mean, the biggest fantasy sport in general. The biggest contests. The most liquidity. The most participation. The most casual participation. That's why it's the softest sport. It's hard to realize your EV because very big fields, but typically the softest sport. And one of the reasons why it's the softest sport, we talked about the past 2 days: projection, correlation, leverage, these types of things that, there's a good 25, 40% of the field doesn't even pay attention to. Projections, why? Stupid computers. Good, I know who's good at football. I'm playing this guy. That's what a lot of the field is. Not relying on any type of probability or statistics whatsoever. They don't care about correlation. They don't understand what projections are. They don't care about ownership or anything like that. A lot of dead bad money in those contests. And MJC asked, got to do those Super Saturdays again or something similar. Yes. For me personally, on my own YouTube channel, Stupid Saturdays will be coming back. I believe I'll be doing them early in the afternoon, though. I believe that 12:30, 1 o'clock or so, because obviously on the weekends there's MMA, so I got to prepare for that. And there's some wrestling stuff going on Saturday nights, so Stupid Saturdays are coming back. But good morning to everyone in the chat. Give me those thummy thumbs, by the way. Give me the thummy thumbs. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Hit everything you want. But why is NFL the softest? It's a lot of people that don't care about any of the stuff that we offer here at RotoGrinders. They don't use, right? A big bulk of the field does not use it. So obviously sign up. Sign up to get Lineup HQ, get our projections, get our NFL projections, ownership, content. We got tons of stuff here. Click on that link in the description, get $10 off your first month, right? These are 40% of the field aren't people that know anything about the game theory of daily fantasy sports, right? If you want to learn that, the fundamentals, obviously you watch this show often, or you get the theory of daily fantasy sports, 15-hour audio masterclass, how to think like a professional DFS player. Learn about the things that a large portion of the fields in NFL do not care about. They know football. They Joe Schmo from the couch. But what's one way to take advantage, not only of that, but you take advantage of variance. NFL variance is the most exploitable in any sport. Okay? Taking advantage of variance. People do not know how to handle variance in small sample sizes. The thing about NBA, we got NBA. NBA is more of a normally distributed sport. Okay, so the variance is lower. I mean, it's still a lot of variance, but it's lower. Okay, so when you think one thing, but it really isn't another thing, that the range of outcomes is much narrower. Baseball variance is very high, but from a base perspective, we get larger sample sizes. Right at this point in the season, like, we know who good pitchers are, we know who good batters are for the most part, right? Batting orders, pitch counts, right? We're a little bit more in tune with that because we have a large sample of data, a larger. It's not the largest sample, but it's a larger sample to deal with. Football, everything is small sample in football. Take that, take that, and put it on a post-it note on your computer. Okay, to remind yourself of variance. Okay, get right now. Get a post-it note, get a poster, get it printed on a damn t-shirt. Everything is small sample in NFL. Everything. Everything you think you know is a small sample. And what do we do with small samples? There's not much confidence in small sample sizes. So this is why out of the 18 weeks, we now have 18 weeks of NFL. Most people would say that their favorite weeks of NFL, I mean, if you're a sharp player, most people would say week 1 or week 18. But why is that? Well, week 18 is an easier version of that. Week 18, you get all the teams that are like they've made the playoffs or they're completely gone. Like, you get week 18, you get tons of people sitting, right? There's a reason why like that season-long leagues don't have their like championship round week 18. Because you get, Patrick Mahomes may not play, right? Jalen Hurts may not play. I mean, like star wide receivers may not play. They may play a half or something like that. So a lot of times you're dealing with who's going to play. No one knows anything, right? It's kind of, we just got to guess, kind of. And that introduces a lot of variance. So what people will do on week 18 is look at beat reporters and look at and assume certain things. Oh, well, this wide receiver is not going to play, which means this guy is going to get like 30% target share. And then it turns out that the star wide receiver plays for a half and still gets seven receptions. Or he doesn't play and they rotate like 6 wide receivers in and no one gets a big target share. But there you expect. It's like, well, it's KJ Osborne week, and it's not, right? They expect one thing, but it doesn't happen because there's so many unknowns in that week. Now, week 1 is very similar. Week 1, a lot of unknowns. The pricing has been out for a while, so a lot of times the pricing is inefficient. But people will look at preseason games and what they think like the depth chart looks like, make reasonable guesses, and then get very, very, very focused on them, very anchored to them, and go, oh, okay, based on what we saw last year and based on what we saw in the preseason, this is the way it's going to go. This running back's going to get 70% of the snaps. This wide receiver is still going to have a 26% target share. And you know what? That's not always the case. Because remember, everything is small sample size in NFL. Okay, so heading into week 1, people are going to make assumptions. Projections are going to make assumptions. Right? You have to put an input somewhere. 70% snap share, 26% target share. Based on the pace of the game and everything like that. Dude, the beginning of the season, we don't even know what defenses are good. Oh, they have a great matchup. Are you sure? Right? Go back the past 10 years and compare defensive efficiency from like the beginning of the season to the end of the season. And then go to the next year and go, based on the last season's rankings, what would next season's rankings? And yes, you will see some that it's like, oh, yeah, well, the best defense last year is now the 6th best defense this year. It'll be directionally in some regard. But a lot of times you see things flip-flop around. Personnel changes, coaching changes, injuries during a season. So we don't even know. We don't even know who's a good defense. Right? Oh, this team has a good rushing defense. It's quite possible they end up having a horrible rushing defense. So don't make that. You can't really make that assumption. Oh, this team is going to run the ball 60% of the time. You sure? You sure about that? Oh, they're pass first offense. Now, some of the ones that have no coaching changes, no personnel changes, you get a little bit larger of a sample, right? The thing is, don't make those assumptions. You're going to have to put those inputs in for projections. So these projections are going to be based around some type of sample, but they're very fragile. NFL has the most fragile projections out of all the major sports. You would say MLB. MLB, it's high variance, but it's not that fragile, right? Aaron Judge's projection is Aaron Judge's projection, right? Kyle Schwarber hitting a home run. I mean, like, that's not that fragile. It's just that their range of outcomes is wide. In NFL, the fragility of projections is immense. Is Bijan Robinson going to get what we think he's going to get at 8K against Carolina? Dude, we have no sample size. You could assume, but it doesn't mean anything until you see it, right? Until you see it at least once, and you go, oh, okay, that backs it up. But the point that I'm making right now makes it so that my favorite week is not week 1. My favorite week is not week 18. I say this often every year. My favorite week of the NFL season to play GPPs, favorite by far, is week 2. By far is week 2. Week 2 is my week. Or anytime early in the season, typically. Of course, I won the slant in week 6. Typically, my best NFL cashes in GPPs, like the SPY. I think I won the SPY in like week 5, like those early weeks, because taking advantage of people's disregard of variance, disregard of the fragility of projections, people making assumptions based on very small sample sizes is like a cornerstone strategy of NFL DFS for GPPs. Bart B says in the chat, week 2 is overreaction week. Absolutely. You're going to see one game sample from everyone. And you're going to go, oh, well, wow, this running back got 80% of the snaps. We thought it was going to be a 50-50 split in the backfield, and this running back got 80% of the snaps. Next thing you know, he's the 5,800 the next week, and he's 29% owned, because if you project him for 80% of the snaps and 27 touches with 4 catches out of the backfield, it's like, oh, you got to play this guy. Is he going to get 80% of the snaps the next week? Is the offense going to be as efficient as it was last week? Right? The team won 34-10. Are you sure about it? Are you sure? We just have a 1-week sample size, and people will convince themselves and go, well, for 5,800 at that projection, that's a must play. You have to lock them in. If that's the case, now there are going to be a portion of times that the next game he gets 80% of the snaps, and the team wins 30 points, and you're going to need it. He has 32 fantasy points, and he's sitting there, the highest owned player, and you're like, okay, I guess you needed him. But it's only a 1-game sample size. So many times, what you think you know, you don't know. You don't know. Just put that other post-it note. This is the show of post-it notes. Right? Everything is small sample in NFL. And on the other thing, to put another post-it that says you don't know shit. There you go. Just you don't know. You don't know. You don't know what you think you know. You're dealing with small sample sizes. Just because you see something the first week doesn't mean it's going to happen every week. The team was good 1 week, and week 1, oh, they're rolling. Then next thing you know, that they're 1-8. It's like, yeah, well, they had a good first game, and then just okay. And I guess they're a crappy team. There's a team that, oh, they look horrible, and then the next thing you know, they're 10-2. Oh, but they were horrible last year. Oh, now they're not. Now they're horrible. You have to take into account those small sample sizes. So you have to understand that the projections you're looking at are going to be very fragile. Now, obviously, I'm looking at projections that are like, 3 weeks out from week 1. That obviously the game, we tweak projections like multiple times daily. Typically once a day, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but like Friday, there might be multiple updates. Saturday, there'll be multiple updates. Inactives on Sundays. So things will change a bit. But you take a look at these, you take a look at, running back projections or something. You look by salary or something. And you see, it's like, okay, Nick Chubb, you see like 16, 16, 16, 17, 16, 16, 16. I mean, like this entire range from 6,900 to 8,200 is like practically the same projection from a mean standpoint. Right? Nick Chubb, Bijan Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, which who knows what the hell's going on. Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Ramondre Stevenson, Travis Etienne. It's like, well, who do I play out of these? Well, who knows? Some of these projections may be really off. Based on usage, based on snap share, based on all this. We're putting in. And is Josh Jacobs going to get the same as he got last year? You could think yes, but maybe it's not. Very similar in NBA. When you look at projections, oh, this guy projects well. Yeah, well, he projects because we have him in for 36 minutes. What if he only plays 30? There's a fragility in minutes in NBA. Just like there's a fragility in snap share, target share, rushing share, all that type of stuff. Dude, small samples in NFL. Team goes down like 2 touchdowns early, and maybe they're not running the ball anymore. Stuff happens very quickly in the NFL. Especially early in the season, projections are going to be very fragile. Just like Grant Brown says. I think Cardi says it takes 6 to 8 weeks for projections to stabilize, and even then it's still fragile. It also depends on what you're measuring as far as stabilization, right? Pace of play stabilizes quickly because it's like, if you see that they get up to the line and snap the ball quicker, they're probably going to do it, and they've done it, a certain way. They're getting plays off with 15, 20 seconds left on the play clock. Like that probably stabilizes after 2 or 3 games. And vice versa, like Aaron Rodgers letting the clock run all the way down. That type of thing. Pace of play may as far as projecting that in the game, probably easier. But some of these now, top wide receiver 1 target share, that can stabilize a little bit quicker than 6 to 8 weeks. It's still fragile. The key thing here is not trying to get the projections more perfect. It's a lost cause. Don't even bother. It's looking at these numbers and knowing that they're fragile and trying to find the fragile situations. Okay? If I had a choice of what to attack, I attack fragile situations. I attack variance. Cheese is good. Dave Potts in MLB has what's called the Robbie Ray rule. And obviously, it doesn't apply much this season, but it's very on the point, right? She said Robbie Ray is the type of pitcher that he could come out and he could strike out 13 guys in a game. He can. He has the ability to do that. He's also someone that can come in and walk 5 guys and give up 4 home runs and be out in an inning and a third. Like, he's that guy also, right? Sometimes you get one and sometimes you get the other. So that's a wide range of outcomes. That's a lot of variance. So Cheese has the Robbie Ray rule, which is when Robbie Ray is low owned, I play him. When Robbie Ray is high owned, I don't. Right? People at ownership's going towards the variance, going, oh, Robbie Ray is going to come out. He's going to strike out 10 Tigers. Next thing you know, the Tigers score 7 runs in the first inning. Now, it happens less frequently, but you want to benefit from that variance. People are just assuming that, oh, obviously he's going to have this great performance, but he's capable of having the worst performance ever. Very similar in MMA. Typically knockout artists, strikers that don't grapple, that are very reliant on their quick first-round finishes. They typically have poor cardio. They're high variance. They could score 125 points, or they're dead, or they don't score, or they don't score enough for you to be worth it. So in MMA, typically, I'm more likely to play those types of fighters when they're lower owned. But when they're chalky, dude, you got 5 minutes. You got 5 minutes for a knockout. You don't get a 5-minute knockout. Thank you for 35% of the field owning this guy. But when the guy's 12% owned, it's like, I'll take a shot. I got 5 minutes. You could apply the same exact thing in NFL around small sample sizes. What do people think they know? Well, people think, based on preseason, people think that this guy is going to get a bulk of this, and this is how it's going to. And the more and more that situation where it's like, we don't know for sure, but we're pretty confident of X. Like the field is like, yeah, they're gonna roster this guy at 25%, 20% ownership, thinking that based on beat reporters, based on preseason usage, those would be the situations to attack fragile-wise. And then the opposite is also true. Oh, everyone says that this running back is gonna be a running back by a committee. We don't know who the lead back is, right? Oh, we're not sure if they're going to run the same offense. So I don't know if the passing game is going to be worth it for this team or something like that. And that's the narrative. And people are going in, and people are inputting stuff into projections where, oh, okay, they're not going to pass as often as they did last year. They're not going to do this, or they're going to split carries amongst 4 different running backs, and it's not going to be this lead back. Well, now these guys over there are going to be 2% owned. And what happens if you're wrong? What happens if everyone is wrong about their assumptions? Well, it's a fragile situation. It's like, well, we think that this running back's only going to get 50% of the snaps. But what happens if they decide to just give him 75%? It's like, well, if I give him 75% of the snaps and five catch attempts out of the backfield and 6 goal line inside the 10 opportunities, it's like, the dude's like 6,200. Like, this guy would be a smash. At 50% snap share, not so much. 75% snap share, like, the dude should be 25% owned. How owned is he going to be? Oh, let me see. 8%. Like, that would be a situation to attack. You don't know what you think you know in NFL. Everything is small sample size. Everything. Halfway through the season, it's still small sample size. But especially early in the season. So attack the variance. That doesn't mean you have to attack all the. You don't have to attack it all. Oh, well, it could be that and it could be that, and you put together a lineup that, like, maybe the Lions are good this year. Maybe this team is going to pass more than they run, and I'm not saying you should attack all of them, but find these angles. Don't necessarily take these mean projections as, well, one guy is projected for 0.8 more than the other guy, so that guy is way better than the other guy. No. Dude, running back touchdown variance is high. So, like, it's like you could look down the list of, like, anyone in this, like, mid-range, 10, 14, 12, 15, 13, 14, 15, 12, 13, 14. Dude, they might as well all have the same projection. They might as well. Based on what we know, might as well. Yeah, there's a difference between 20 and 12. There's a difference between 12 and 7. But everything in this middle is just, well, I'm going to play Cam Akers instead of Aaron Jones. Well, what do you do? Are you crazy? Like, if you react that way, then, dude, everything's fragile. Everything is small sample size. You're going to go to wide receiver. You're going to look at the mid-range wide receiver. You're going to go Terry McLaurin, 13. Mike Evans, 11. Michael Pittman, 12. DJ Moore, 12. Christian Watson, 14. Chris Godwin, 12. Amari Cooper, 14. Mike Williams, 15. Christian Kirk, 13. And you're going to go, well, Mike Williams is 15-point projected at 5,700. I got to play him. Why? Who would play Christian? DJ Moore. DJ Moore's 400 more, and he's projected for what? 2.5 points less. Dude, you know how fragile this shit is? Yes, if we ran it out, yeah, Mike Williams probably scores more than DJ Moore, more than half the time. There's so much fragility in these projections that, like, one guy's going to be 20% owned and one guy's going to be 4% owned. It's only like a 2.5 difference in mean project. What's 2.5 points for a receiver? A 15-yard catch. That's it. That's it. That's all it is. Running back. Well, this running back projects, mean projection is 2 points. It's 2 points higher. That's a 10-yard catch. That's it. It's 2 points. It's a 10-yard catch. That's it. That's the difference between the two. One guy's going to get a 10-yard catch, and one guy's going to get thrown, and he's going to drop it. That's it. That's the difference. Thinking in terms of like NBA, where mean projection does matter a lot more. 2 points is still very small. But I'm much more likely to care about 2 points in NBA than I am in NFL. So when you're building lineups in NFL, especially if you're involved in correlation, I mean, you could lead. Dude, I could run the optimal based on projection of 137.5. I could build lineups that are 20, 25 points lower projected than this. No problem. No problem. No problem whatsoever. 25 points, 30 points. I mean, dude, for the Millie Maker, you could be running tons of lineups. You can make up 25 points in projection. No problem. Just due to correlation and touchdown variance. So if you're sitting there going, well, I got to play this guy because he's too. Everyone says, and especially when it's like everyone says that you got to play this guy, right? They're going to feed him the ball, right? This wide receiver, this new, based on, this guy left for the season, and this guy now this guy's the man. This guy's the man at wide receiver. I know he only had an 18% target share last year, but dude, there's not, who else are they going to throw the ball to? He's going to have a 30% target share, and everyone's going into week 1 or week 2 or week 4 or whatever. And next thing you know, he's an 18% target share just like he did last year because they just throw the ball around. Yeah, but why would they be doing that? He's so much better than this. And sometimes people like project their own coaching, what the coaches should do. And our job isn't to figure out what the coaches should do. It's to take advantage of what the coaches will do. Especially in the NFL, a lot of the coaches are idiots. A lot of them are idiots. We may look and you go, well, they should have this guy throw more. But are they? Don't put it in. Don't go, I'm going to play. Dude, based on this matchup and everything, they should be throwing the ball like 70% of the time. And next thing you know, you go there and they're running 1st and 10, 2 yards into the line with a halfback trap. And you're going, what is this coach, an idiot? They would win the game if they just threw the ball. Your goal in DFS isn't that. Your goal is what are they going to, what are the coaches actually going to do? Right? Well, they should. This guy should be a bell cow running back, but he's not. You're not going to make DeAndre Swift happen. You can't just will that. Well, he's so much more talented than all the running backs. He should be getting 50% of the touches and getting all the third down. Antonio Gibson should be getting third downs. And when J.D. McKissick comes in, everyone goes nuts. But then they play Antonio Gibson as if he's getting third downs because that's what they think should happen. But it's not. It's not happening. It's not happening. Well, one of these weeks it'll happen. Yeah, but it's not. So why are you considering it? DeAndre Swift isn't going to go into an 80% timeshare type of thing. No. I know he's on a different team now, but you got Jamal Williams getting all the balls on the 10-yard line, vulturing all the touchdowns. So why are you still projecting DeAndre Swift like he's this superstar? And people play him like that. This is the type of stuff you take advantage of. Put that Post-it note up. Everything in NFL is small sample. Everything is small sample in NFL. Everything. Everything you think you know, small sample. Everything. Well, I think I know this. Well, you know it from this amount of data. This is it. Yeah, but it's 5 years. 5 years isn't even enough. 5 years, what? That's not even 100 games. And over the course of 5 years, there's been 4 coaching changes, 3 quarterback changes. The offensive line is beat. I mean, like, dude, something that happened 4 years ago is all totally different variables than today. So even that, like, oh, well, you have 90 games of data, but 80% of it is irrelevant to what today's the current roster and coaching staff is now. So that doesn't even matter. Everything is small sample in NFL. Lucas Ionesco asked, what percentage should you aim to have your lineups finish in the 1%? Well, more than 1%. What percentage of pros lineups are finishing in the top 1%? For me, at least personally, depending on sport, somewhere between 1.4 and 1.8%. Long term. In the top 1%. That's considered a decent signal. It should be over the rake. Typically if you're getting 1.2, obviously depends on how big the fields are, because top 1% in 100,000 person field is still only top 1,000. So for those fields, you want like top 0.1%. But for the most part, you should be getting more than your fair share of top 1% finishes. So I would be aiming to 1.4 to 1.8. If in a small sample over the course of half a season or something, you're like, wow, I'm getting 2.2% in the top 1%, and you haven't binked, that means you've been getting a little unlucky. And if you've binked, if you've come in first and your top 1% rate is like 0.8%, then you've probably gotten lucky with that also in the other direction. But yeah, for me personally, and from what I've seen mostly, like somewhere between 1.4 and 1.8% would be the range. I think overall for me, it's like 1.7 something or other. 1.74% across all sports everywhere for large field GPPs. And obviously, if you have something that's ridiculously higher, it must be a small sample size. It's unsustainable to be more than like 2% in the top 1%, like long term. I don't see that. Short term, yeah, sure. Over the 6-month period, sure. That could be the case. Okay, so if you got questions about NFL DFS, we're continuing our primer series tomorrow. Tomorrow, get your questions in. Questions at theoryofdfs.com. If you want to hear more about the subject, like I talked today about variance, exploiting it, that's in the Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports. How to think like a professional DFS player. 15-hour audio masterclass, as well as the Advanced Players Guide, which is another 10 chapters of audio, and my custom Excel tools, which I'll be using for this NFL season. So get them both. Theoryofdfs.com. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs on your way out the door. We got an MLB slate coming up. They'll be bringing crunch time to you at noon. And I will see you tomorrow answering your questions, as I always do here, Monday through Friday, 11 o'clock Eastern, on the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.